coming to you from my friend's home in the Princeton area, where I have suddenly become the steward of three teenagers, or two teenagers, and a young adult and a dog. So here I am, having dropped the little one off at school. And so I'm making this video about the martyr, the fourth protector archetype. And remember that the four protector archetypes consist of the victim, the saboteur, the prostitute, and now here we are at the martyr. And so the reason why the martyr is one of the four protector archetypes is because we all have a bit of martyr in us. And the reason why we all have a bit of martyr in us is because it is the archetype of service. It's the archetype of extreme service. And that's essentially why we came here. We're here to be of service to our fellow brothers and sisters. We're here to live the golden rule. And so sometimes our service is tied in with a sacrifice, not all the time, but the highest expression of the martyr energy is service without expectation of return. So without sacrifice, however, from the point of view of the story, there may be an ultimate sacrifice of time, of energy, of relationships, or it could be the final sacrifice of their life, of the life force energy of their bodies. And then the lower expression is the offering of service with an expectation for something in return. And so that's when we have the martyr, which is funny because it also kind of sounds like mother in certain languages. It is when the act of service gets hijacked by these thoughts of that I need something in return. It could be appreciation, it could be validation, it could be acknowledgement, it could be acts of service in return. So we're very familiar with the archetype of the martyr through our stories, biblical stories, cultural stories, historical stories, and also we find the martyr in war as well, in war scenarios. So famous martyrs that for me come to mind would be Jesus of Nazareth, where his physical life was taken for his cause, for his message. Who also comes to mind is Joan of Arc. And so Joan of Arc was a young French maiden in the 1400s, in what we would call medieval times. And she was born in a small village that was relatively close to Germany. And she received divine wisdom. And so it's similar in that also Jesus of Nazareth was also receiving divine wisdom to manifest that inspiration through the act of service in this lifetime. And so Joan of Arc also received inspired instruction. The energies, the archetypes that she received her inspired wisdom from were Archangel Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. And so these voices would give her instructions and tell her what to do. And eventually, the reason why Joan of Arc is so famous is because she, as this young maiden, liberated France from England. And in another video, I'll go deeper into her story because it's a fascinating one. But nevertheless, what we know about Joan of Arc, the reason why she's so famous is because in the end, she was burned at the stake for her service. So in thanks for liberating France, she was not rescued, she was not saved. And then we have the martyrs of war. So we can think of the kamikaze pilots in World War II out of Japan, We can also think of the Middle Eastern soldiers who commit suicide in a public place. So in that particular case, the motivation for martyrdom is tied in with that exchange that I was talking about. So in exchange for sacrificing your life, for giving up your life, you will get a slew of virgins, you'll arrive in heaven, you'll receive the accolades. So again, just to summarize, the archetype of the martyr is again tied in with service. We are inherently beings of service. We came here to master the golden rule, to treat others as we would want to be treated. So the martyr archetype, and again, the archetypes are inherently neutral. They're just energies, and they have their highest expression and they have their lowest expression. And so the martyr energy in its highest expression is one of pure service. And in the lowest expression, it's service in exchange for something. And so we can start to think about people in our lives who we might consider as the martyr. And how we can recognize that is that it's somebody in your life who will do something for you, but then on the back end is looking for something in return. The language for it, for example, would be, well, I do all these things for you, and this is the thanks I get. I work so hard for you, and you don't appreciate me. I mean, even the expression, what am I, chopped liver? Even that is actually the language of the martyr moving into a lower expression. But the thing is, the martyr wants to be of service because that service is tied into their purpose. Again, so we want to clean up any stressful thoughts we have about our service. So the martyr also won't necessarily ask for help. I can think of an example where the martyr was in the driver's seat. So since the end of 2020, early 2021, we have hosted in-person meetings and to talk about how we can protect our sovereignty and our freedoms in the face of unlawful and immoral mandates. So in order to prepare my space for the meeting, I have to move furniture, I have to set up a table for the snacks. And so I noticed that at the end of the meeting, when it was time now to put my space back together in preparation for the next day, a couple of people asked, oh, how can I help? What can I do? And I said, no, I've got it. But what then happened was there was this unpleasant feeling afterwards that, oh, I'm doing this all on my own. It was great to notice because the martyr wants to suffer a little bit. So the martyr energy is also tied in with suffering. And then if it gets away with it, then it hooks into the victim, right? So you can see how there is this relationship between all the protector archetypes, how they can feed into each other through these little nuances of thought systems and then feeling states and then behaviors. So getting back to the offering of help, so generously, they offered their help to me, and then I closed off on that help because the martyr energy wants to do it all. And I can actually see, as I'm just now going over it with you, how the martyr could also, in a higher expression, turn into the hero, right? So we can see how there's this perfect path from being the martyr, which again, the energy of the martyr is service, that then the act of service is really acted out through the hero. So when you're thinking about the martyr energy expressing itself through the people that you love or through yourself, just notice too where you won't take help that's offered or you won't ask for help when you need it. That dynamic is quintessential martyr energy. And so if you notice that energy within you, the language for that is, wonderful, I would love your help. Thank you. So the answer is always gratitude, and also an invitation to presence, because God is so good that he put these other beings in place who are also of service to offer their assistance, to be in place for you to be able to ask for assistance, so that things can get done collaboratively, connectedly, efficiently, because we came here to create together, to work together, to cooperate. And so we want the archetype of the martyr to live its highest expression through us, where we find our cause, because the energy of the martyr, the archetype of the martyr, is tied in with a cause. And so the cause could be the protection of the family, the health and well-being, the survival of the family. It could be the health and the well-being of society, of community. In Joan of Arc's case, the cause for her momentous service was the liberation of France. And in the case of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, his cause was the liberation of the human spirit, of human consciousness, to once again align with the truth of the infinite creator, which is that we came here to love and know our brothers as ourselves. That love is the answer. And so when we don't have love, then that creates the conditions for forgiveness. And then forgiveness is realizing that what we thought was a problem actually isn't, and that all of it is actually God revealing himself to us so that we can know ourselves and so that we can be pure vessels of his divine grace. So you can think about causes in your life that you are willing to sacrifice your time, your energy, or even your life for. Is there anything in your life that you would be willing to give your life for? And so that cause is directly linked with the energy of the martyr. And you can think about too, where in my life am I willing to suffer for the happiness, the peace, the well-being of others, of the people that I love or the people that I care about? So these questions are entry points to acknowledging the martyr within. And also you can take a moment to be still. And with all of these archetypes, as we go through them, with each of the protector archetypes as well, you can ask yourself if they had a persona, if they looked a certain way. Are they male? Are they female? What kind of clothing are they wearing? How old are they? You can get to know your personal martyr in that way. And it's useful because when we envision the archetypes as a persona in our minds, then it helps to create that little bit of space where, oh, that's the martyr. You can identify it. And it creates that little bit of space between you and that energy that is in the driver's seat at any given moment and living its life through you. When it lives its life through you, it's important actually, because these energies help get you into situations that you wouldn't normally get yourself into, have you caring about things that God wants you to care about, has you being of service to others despite yourself. Because even though we feel it's all about us, actually it isn't. It's about each other. It's about all of us. So just to finish, keep top of mind that the martyr energy is about service. It's tied in with a cause, that there can also be an actual or perceived sacrifice, that when it's in its lowest expression, that sacrifice gets expressed. What am I, chopped liver? I'm doing all these things for you, and this is the thanks I get. Don't you see what I do for you? Don't you see all the things that I'm doing for you? All of that language is the martyr. So we want to be vigilant to those thought systems and to check in with ourselves to see, how can I be of service without needing that exchange, without needing something in return, so that I can be at peace. Because we can see that then that creates the conditions for resentment. It creates the conditions for guilt and guilt trips. Yeah. Okay, so I think that concludes our video on the martyr. If there are observations that you have made that you would like to share that you feel like I've missed out on, please put them in the comments. And if you have an idea for an archetype that you would like me to explore in the next video, you can also put that in the comments below as well. All right, have a good day. See you next time.